Welcome to All Business, No Boundaries, a collection of supply chain stories by DHL Supply Chain, the North American leader in contract logistics. I'm your host, Will Hayward. This is a place for in-depth discussions on the supply chain challenges keeping you up at night. We're breaking beyond the boundaries that are limiting your supply chain. Today's episode is Accelerating Excellence, how Toyota and DHL drive customer satisfaction. Our guests are Tim Ernest, Senior Manager, Customer Parts for Toyota, and Matt Ver Meer, Vice President, Operations, DHL Supply Chain. Let's dive in. Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to you both. I'm excited to have both of you here. I've been looking forward to recording this episode. As you'll notice, I'm not in the comfy confines of my studio. I'm today in New York City. So a little change of scenery for me, but I don't think that'll impact the podcast at all today. So we're going to start today like we normally do. I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself. So your name, the company that you work for, your role there, and then how long you have been. Tim, since you're our guest, why don't we start with you first, please?
Yeah, thank you, Will, and really appreciate you having me on. My name is Tim Ernest. I'm the Senior Manager of Customer Parts. And that includes our logistics operations team here in Plano, Texas. So I work for Toyota Motors. I've been with the company for 26 years and had the great experience to work at multiple locations throughout our service parts and accessories supply chain. Working in California, then moving to Kentucky for several years, did a little stint in New Jersey and back to Kentucky because I loved it so much. And now I'm down in Dallas, Texas.
How long have you been in Dallas area?
Just a little bit over 3 years now.
Okay, great. So how about you, Matt?
Good afternoon. Well, thanks for having me here today. My name is Matt Ver Meer. I'm Vice President of Operations here with DHL. I sit within our AEMCE group. So that's the alphabet soup for automotive, engineering, manufacturing, chemical, and engineering. So my main area of focus is the dedicated delivery service that we do for a number of automotive customers, including Toyota. So our fleets are responsible for the delivery of auto parts from the parts distribution centers to the dealers. So been in the industry for many, many years. Currently also reside in Dallas-Fort Worth area. So down here in the warm, originally from Iowa. So looking forward to our conversation here today.
Yeah, likewise. Welcome to you both. So Matt started to touch on it, Tim, but I wondered if you could kind of orient us around. So we're talking, Toyota's a big company and we're talking about the automotive side, correct?
That's right.
Okay. And then the service part. So in your definition, what does that mean? How does it play out in your business? What service are you providing to whom and kind of through what mechanism?
Yeah, so we are the source of service parts to all of our 1,400 Toyota and Lexus dealerships across North America. We also export to practically every country in the world now. So anywhere our Toyota and Lexus vehicles go, our team will support from a part side. So if you need an oil change, an air filter change, tire change, lug nuts, I mean, it's soup to nuts, quite honestly, on auto parts. So we have the relationship with our suppliers to provide service parts to our Toyota and Lexus customers, basically up to 15 years after production end of that model. And our supply chain is really our value add to make sure we move that product through in a safe and quality process all the way from supplier through our parts centers and parts distribution centers all the way to our dealers, where finally parts are being repaired for our customers and hopefully getting those vehicles back in our customers' hands as quick as possible so that they can do their daily tasks with their number one way of transportation.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. That's helpful. So Matt, can you tell us how DHL and Toyota came to be on this podcast together, and more importantly, what the working relationship is between the companies?
Yeah, so we do business with Toyota in the Phoenix market. So we're doing the delivery of parts for the greater Phoenix area, and we've had that relationship since 2020 is when we started. That was when a brand new parts distribution center was put in place. So We've been working very close with Toyota, and over time, that's been an evolving partnership and relationship. We've had some great success, I would say, in the relationship. But as everybody knows, the world looked a little different in 2020 than it does now. We got to implement this at the height of the COVID situation. So I think we've had a very tight partnership but have gone through a lot in a very short period of time with starting up the new business, coming out of COVID, then going into what would be business as usual. But then, of course, we know the automotive industry has been in a tremendous world of change here recently as well. So I think through our partnership and how we've worked together, we've had some good successes and continue to polish the process and how we solve the problems of getting parts out to the dealers.
Super. So Tim, from your chair, obviously you were instrumental in making the decision on the Phoenix operation. How did that come to pass when the pandemic kind of came in? Did that cause you to rethink any of your timing? Just how did that factor into the startup of it? And then maybe, we talk about a Phoenix Center. How does that fit into the overall kind of aftermarket supply chain for Toyota?
Yeah, Will, great question. So I'll start off with really the importance of Phoenix. So prior to 2020, all of our Phoenix related dealers were being serviced out of our facility in Los Angeles. So long drive time, long lead time. And because of those lead times, we had to have fairly early cutoffs for those dealers to place their orders so that we could pick them and get them on a truck out and deliver. So with the growing market, Phoenix was growing considerably with a lot of people moving there prior to COVID. And I think many people moved to warmer weather climates during COVID as well. But it was a market that was underserved in our aspect, and we really needed to get a better level of customer service into the Phoenix area. So Phoenix Plan was probably launched in 2018. So the plans were set, the facility was set, the decisions for our business partners like DHL were basically all set. COVID was not going to slow us down. Yes, it of course did slow us down, but it wasn't going to be a decision to say no go at this point in time. It was still an important process of getting critical parts to our customers. And what a great time to actually launch, because you had your doctors, your nurses, your fire personnel, police personnel. The personal vehicles very well could have been a Toyota Lexus. How could we better service them so that they could help support the whole country through that pandemic situation? So it was really a big business need for us to get the customer a closer delivery location, allow them a later cutoff, so more opportunity to diagnose more vehicles throughout the day, send us an order closer to 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. in the evening as opposed to 11 a.m., and still get parts the next day by 7 a.m.
So Matt, tactically speaking, or maybe the mechanics of the solution, how do the parts get delivered into dealerships? Is it, where on the clock does it happen? How does it work with the drivers doing the delivery? I've heard things like unattended delivery, things like that. So explain sort of the service.
Yeah, so we get the product out of Phoenix, and the dealers have, as Tim said, through the day to order their parts. Then they're, depending on where the region is, there's a cutoff, and then those parts are delivered over to the facility where we load the trucks, and then our drivers depart. So that those departures are going to be happening typically late in the day, and they're driving and delivering into the evening. So from Phoenix, we're gonna touch. We have 56 different dealers that we deliver to in 6 different states. And as you may know, the states out west are a little bigger than they are out east. So we're running some pretty good distance doing that. And then those drivers are going to go into the each individual dealer, and they're going to be making those deliveries while nobody's around. So the technicians and everybody, they're at home, sleeping, and we've got access into the facility, an area of the facility where we can, push in cages or offload totes and product and leave that there, and we'll do the scanning and whatnot. So all the systems are updated on what product we dropped off, and then we'll lock up the door and off we go to the next facility, the next dealer. And so when the technicians show up the next morning, 6, 7 o'clock or whatnot, they go in there and their parts are ready and they can start fixing that vehicle that they diagnosed the previous day. So that's how it works for the majority of it. But we really have even faster service in the local Phoenix market, where there's some of those dealers that are close by that they can order into the morning and we'll deliver that afternoon, or we'll even allow them to come over and pick up from the facility. So, for some of the closer in dealers, they have that opportunity to potentially turn that vehicle, diagnose, order parts, fix, and call up the customer to pick up that vehicle in the same day.
Tim, if I'm a Toyota risk management professional, how do I think about non-Toyota employees going into dealerships by themselves, locking and unlocking, dropping off things? How do you get comfortable around that?
Yeah, I think for that, it's a lot of pre-discussion, right? So in this whole process, we would have probably quoted about 5 different carriers for this program. We would have met with them, we would have understand their operation. We would have, got comparables. We know DHL does this service for other, competitive nameplates. So we would have talked to probably some of those competitive nameplates to gather some information on service and capability from them. DHL came in with a unbelievable package, an unbelievable presentation, a lot of great detail on their abilities to not only service the customer, but also take care of their own people. And I think just those pre-discussions before our selection just continue to grow the trust between the two organizations.
So shifting gears a bit, I've heard this concept of the Toyota way, and I wondered, Tim, if you could tell us what that means just overall, and then what it means in your scope of control.
Yeah, so I'll start with really the two main pillars of the Toyota way, and it's respect for people. And the second pillar is continuous improvement, or Kaizen. Those are the two major pillars that we operate within under the Toyota way. Now, there's 10 other categories within the Toyota way I could get into, but that would be a couple-hour session to go through all that. But general condition is, how do we treat others? How do we treat our customers? That is number one. We want to give them the right product at the right time, at the right place, in the right quality. But respect for people is also safety. We want all of our members, both internal and external and business partners, not only to do the job that they need to do, but to be able to do it safely with high quality, again, for that end service to the customer. So for me, it has a lot to do with the final touch and that final touch to the dealer. I mean, that is the last time I'm going to see those parts within our supply chain move to the end customer. And it's one of the most important moves that happen, because now it's actually an asset to the dealer that can fix the customer's car. So if there's a quality misdelivery or a damage along the way, or a misdelivery or rerouting delays, et cetera, it can create a lot of impact. But the great thing with the partnership with DHL is they've consistently performed across those different metrics. And that's one of the key areas where I think, we continue to do great things within our relationship and continue to build on it.
So Matt, maybe at the start, when you thought about DHL against the Toyota way, or the Toyota organization, and then operationally, how have things evolved in the either operations or the relationship overall over the years that it's been in place?
Yeah, so first and foremost, the match is perfect. When you're dealing with a customer who leads with respect, I think that puts everybody a little bit more at ease, and willingness to have the good conversations, the hard conversations, and ensure that we're aligned in where we need to go. And then Toyota's just focus on continuous improvement. That's in our DNA as well. So we utilize all the continuous improvement tools around our business planning. We utilize it within our warehouses. We utilize it within our transportation, our technology, and everything. So that is it's just like a perfect match, and we're able to communicate using those tools and ensure that we're going in the right direction. I mean, we keep a very, very close eye on our performance metrics, on business conditions, on volume changes, on network implications. I mean, anything that can tweak and change how we need to approach the business. And we feed that information into our continuous improvement tools and make sure that we're finding the best way to, change the process and ensure that we're delivering on the promise to those dealers. So, from that perspective, I mean, working with Toyota is just, it's a really, really great, relationship and partnership, because we both have basis in the same foundation in how we approach the business. So we're speaking each other's language pretty regularly.
It's been a tumultuous, 4 or 5 years, right, of pandemic and lots of other things happening in sort of the geopolitical world. I wonder how the market has evolved or changed in that time span, and what the impact has been. Tim, from your standpoint on, what your dealers are needing, what your end customers are needing, and then in turn, Matt, what adjustments have had to be made on the DHL side.
Yeah, Will, another great question. So I'll say through the COVID period, definitely the age of vehicle grew quite a bit over the couple of years through that process. People weren't going to dealerships, weren't buying new cars. Actually, manufacturing was struggling to get the components to build new cars. So people had to hold on to their cars longer, and that sometimes requires additional service. So the importance of Toyota and our business partners like DHL to provide service and get the parts to the end customer and repair those vehicles was paramount during those years. So we're continuing to see strong demands, strong requirements from our customers, and with the Phoenix PDC and that on-site leadership team working very closely with the DHL team, we're doing a really, really good job.
So Matt, how about you? Both in the Toyota business, and then, you support some other, mainline auto manufacturers. What are you seeing from a service support standpoint?
Well, I mean, it's probably the most change we've seen in the auto industry in I don't know, I would likely say forever, because the changes around, just the product type. I mean, are we staying on internal combustion engines? We've got this transition to electrification. It varies on how much transition there is market by market. You have a lot more transition out west than you do maybe in the Midwest and out east. And you have new players that are out there that are hopping into the fray that, it used to be the big automakers and have been pretty stable for a long time. And now there's other companies that are coming in, and some are going to make it, some aren't going to make it. So it's there's a whole lot of change going on. I think it's taught us to ensure that we're giving flexible options, taking more regular looks at how we're servicing the business, looking for opportunities where there may be synergies amongst customers or whatnot that could help benefit both. As a consumer of equipment ourselves, we're out there running trucks and trailers and whatnot. We're also having to identify where the applications for those different type of solutions work. So, we may use the diesel engines on the long haul that are in remote areas, but, we've gone through a lot of electrification on our site, trailer spotting equipment and whatnot. We've looked at CNG units where it makes sense. We're looking at electrical vehicles for some of the short and medium haul type of opportunities as well. So we continue to put a lot of that into our network too, which allows us to, as a consumer of that, we also then are dealing with what a lot of, say, Toyota's customers are on. Okay, where do I go get my fuel? Where do I plug in? Where do I get maintenance? It's not the same way that we've been operating equipment for the last decades. It's a little bit different approach. So we get to go through it both ways, as a provider to our customer and as a consumer of the equipment ourselves.
So Tim, I'm not going to ask you to reveal any deep Toyota secrets, but generally speaking, when you talk about the kind of hot topics around electrification and alternate fuel sources. I know Toyota's stuck in a lane on that and had a point of view. And I think it's been, leaning heavily on hybrids, but I wondered if you could talk about sort of the Toyota view on what's to come, and maybe your own opinion on, kind of how you see things evolving over the next few years.
Yeah, I think Toyota will continue to be a strong environmental player in the reduction of CO2. Our game plan, yeah, was a little bit different maybe than other nameplates with the full-on BEV or electrification strategy. We went with more of a hybrid-based strategy, and I mean, there's multiple reasons for that strategy. Quite honestly, most of these materials come from overseas markets. Over 70% of the five key products come from China, and definitely concern there, as well as high cost. And so for a battery electric, if you produce one battery for a BEV, you can produce, I think it's 90 hybrids. So what's the benefit from a CO2 reduction if you have one BEV taking off one combustible engine off the road versus 90 hybrids taking off 90 combustible engines off the road? So we feel our strategy is strong. We feel it's the right way to go. We're going to continue with our 2050 environmental reduction plan and CO2 dispersion. So happy with the company. Glad we stuck to our guns on that one and really stuck strong with the hybrid strategy. I think it ended up being the right way to go, because you see some of these other that went full electric struggling a little bit. And I was down driving through the Austin area and saw some of the parked vehicles down there. Won't name the company I saw, but they have a lot of vehicles parked.
Yeah, interesting. I had never heard the 90-1 comparison before. That's pretty staggering.
It is staggering, and it's something that we reported out to government and other agencies to say, this is why we're sticking with this strategy. The 90-1 makes more sense from an overall CO2 reduction as opposed to the 1-1.
So Matt, you've been in and around the automotive industry a long time. How do you see the next few years playing out?
Well, it's been interesting because everybody jumped in so heavy on electrification, and I do think you're starting to see it slow down just a little bit. I think there's going to be a variety. At some point, I think that the various paths will kind of coincide, and we'll figure out what the best way is. I mean, I do feel that there's in our industry there's a very strong business case for electrification when it's short haul and yard moves and stuff like that. The long haul can be a little bit tougher. I mean, the amount of energy it takes and the amount of battery it takes to do some of this long haul, and the charge times, that we're seeing some of that being closed a little bit with some of the current technology that's being released. But then there's also the hydrogen and the approach for that, which seems like it could be a really strong application for our business. I think at the end of the day, if you wind the clock back, probably 20, 25 years. I mean, when Toyota started getting into the hybrid market, I mean, they were an absolute leader and changed the game when they did that. And I think Toyota has often shown they have a very pragmatic approach to how they go about their business. They study, they look at all the options and pick a path. And I think they've done that again here. Kind of the second phase, if we will. And it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. But to answer your question, at the end of the day, I think there is going to be a mixture of it. It's just based on, but there's going to be vehicles are going to be much more use specific, if you will, than Swiss Army knife per se. So you got to know what your use is going to be.
I want to ask both of you a two-part question. What are you most excited about for 2025, and what do you think the biggest challenge to your business or scope of control will be in that year?
I can start. My excitement and my concern may actually be the same exact thing, because we're coming in with a pretty sizable geopolitical change this year, and how that pans out is going to be very interesting. So, a lot of pro business, a lot of trying to ensure that the economy keeps moving. If that keeps going, then that's obviously good business for us. I think coming out of 2024, there was a lot of people who kind of had the reins on what just trying to see what's going to happen. How are we going to come through the election and everything, and where's that going to go? So, I think there's some strong indicators that there's positive coming. So I'm looking forward to that, and getting past this election cycle and maybe to a little bit of stability, and see where that can go. So I mean that I think in and of itself represents the biggest opportunity / change coming in 2025 from my perspective.
What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, well, I'm probably going to be a little bit more generic in my response and saying that, I'm not going to prognosticate what the big challenges are going to be. What I can tell you is I think Toyota is one of the strongest companies of when a problem does arise, because if you know it's going to be a problem, you're already doing something about it. It's those things that pop up that you had no control of, you couldn't plan, you had no idea it was going to come. Now you've got a real problem, right? And our people are the best at identifying the root cause of those problems, implementing countermeasures, and making sure we're doing it with the customer in mind, with quality, with safety in mind. And quite honestly, you tie that into the business partners that we have with our relationships. And again, Toyota goes for long-term relationships because we want to learn together with our partners like DHL. We want to continue to grow with DHL. And when we continue to work together, we can solve problems together much quicker. And that's where I want to continue to focus is don't worry about what problem may come up. Just be ready for it, and let's work quickly to resolve it so our customers are not impacted.
Excellent. Well, I think that explains a lot about why Toyota has achieved its position in the market for such a long period of time.
If we have a little bit more time, Will, I would like to focus, and I think Matt would like to focus as well. DHL has been our Carrier of the Year award winner 3 years going. And I don't think that's small potatoes. That is a big deal with as large as Toyota is, how much business we have across the country. Being the top provider 3 years running means you're doing a lot of things right. And I do want to point out that we're very appreciative of the DHL partnership. They're doing the right things. They are working on Kaizen. They're working on safety improvements. They have great respect for their drivers, giving them tools and apps to keep communications going during all times. Anytime there's a quality error, they are on top of it quickly to resolve it and get it corrected. So some of the things that we look at on those annual plans or annual reviews, quality, delivery, safety, continuous improvement, like the Kaizen aspect that we talked about. And quite honestly, DHL has been a great partner for the last, I'll say going on 4 or 5 years on all those categories. And I do want to recognize them for their awards over the last several years.
Well, I think this is where Matt gets to say something.
Well, thanks, Tim. I'm glad he mentioned it. We're not one that like to toot our own horn, so if Tim will do it on our behalf, that's great. But it has been. The team that we've got out there in Phoenix is unbelievable. Our drivers are committed to performing on a nightly basis. Our management's there to support them. And to actually win it 3 consecutive years, they've actually won it every year they've been eligible for it. So they're kind of like got a perfect win record thus far. So hopefully don't jinx anything, but we keep attacking the business the same way. And really what Tim said is earlier, and you don't know what the challenges are going to be, and how you attack those challenges and fix it going forward is kind of key. And I think the team's done a great job of that. So we value our partnership with Toyota. We learn a lot being able to work with a company of their caliber, and I think it's just been a great partnership. So thanks, Tim.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tim, and kudos to the team for for all that they do to win that award and get that recognition from Toyota. That's a big deal. Okay, so we'll break there and look forward to what's to come. I wish you both the best in the new year and look forward to crossing paths sometime in the months ahead.
Thank you for having us, Will. Appreciate the opportunity and the discussion. And Matt, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate us and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also re-listen to our entire library of episodes on our website, dhl.com/ABNB podcast. See you next time.